Mabuhay!
Rolele!
Bonjour!
Aloha!
Welcome to one of the most culturally diverse universities of the United States, Brigham Young University, Hawaii. With less than 3,000 students from over 75 countries, we embrace our differences and unite together as we learn, lead, and build one individual at a time. We believe in self-sustaining, life-changing, and legacy-lasting projects.
Our priority is to create leaders who will influence the world for good by taking their knowledge and expertise back home to build their communities and establish peace.
From the green rice paddies of the Philippines to the blue shores of Tonga, join us on a journey to go forth and serve.
Our first journey takes us to Africa. Since 2012, we worked with Enactus student Sarah Kone in his vision to end child slavery through sustainable education. A victim of child slavery himself, Kone began his education initiative, Bowl Africa.
Following his graduation from BYU Hawaii in 2015, Kone's commitment to Well Africa has continued resolute with the support of our Enactus team. We've focused on 4 key pillars: education, sustainable farming, women empowerment, and healthcare.
Since its start over 5 years ago, the Well Africa Legacy Project has contributed to the building of 2 schools, empowering the education of 250 children in the Ivory Coast. This year, our Enactus team facilitated the collaboration of Well Africa and another Enactus Legacy Project, Akin Clothing, to provide required uniforms for the students attending Well Africa schools.
Akin Clothing, started by former Enactus student Ben Howells, started his project to fund required school uniforms to children in developing countries. Kone and Ben always dreamed of making a difference together. This year, we made it happen.
Further, we have focused our efforts with Well Africa on healthcare, placing our attention on the high infant mortality rate of Aboasso, Ivory Coast. 60% of pregnant women in this community either lose their child at birth or die themselves during delivery. To meet this staggering need, we worked hand in hand with Well Africa and the villagers to build 2 healthcare facilities in the area. These 2 facilities allow more than 3,200 individuals access to healthcare.
In addition, we implemented a software program that will facilitate communication between donors and doctors and patients, preserve health records, and provide critical access to information to mitigate possible risk for mothers and babies alike. We are currently tracking the pregnancies of 65 women.
Staying true to its name of Well Africa, not just Well Côte d'Ivoire, Kone set his sights on Sierra Leone, a victim of a devastating civil war and one of the worst humanitarian crises in recent history, the Ebola outbreak. Earlier this year, we visited with Sierra Leone's Minister of Health, Minister of Education, and the National Youth Commission to discuss the ways we can help them help their people.
In our homeland of Hawaii, we have many projects. In 2006, world-renowned surf photographer John Mozo lost his life taking pictures in large surf on the north shore of Oahu. His widow Nikki was left to find a way to support her 4 children. In 2010, Enactus stepped in and helped Nikki organize all of John's photography to sell his prints and better provide for her family. Nikki also wished to give back to the local community who had given her so much support. She partnered with Enactus to create a nonprofit called Nahaku, centered around providing business education for local teenagers wishing to become entrepreneurs. Fast forward to 2016, as a direct result of the service Enactus provided in organizing John's photography, Nikki released a documentary about the life and work of her husband. This film has inspired hundreds of individuals to follow their dreams and live a life without regret.
We combined forces with John and Nikki's oldest daughter, Amber Mozo, for a second project. Amber, as a result of her father's death, spent many years living in fear of the ocean. Picking up her father's old camera gear, she began creating a name for herself as a photographer. Today, she has over 115,000 followers on Instagram. In 2017, she released a short film, Lumiere, telling her story of loss and triumph in the wake of her father's death. We helped plan, host, and manage merchandise for the premiere event to an audience of over 400 people at Turtle Bay Resort.
Our third local project deals with helping people overcome the complexities of anorexia. Eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of all mental illnesses. 30 million people suffer with some form of eating disorder in the United States alone. Every 62 minutes, someone dies as a result.
To improve the self-esteem of those suffering with eating disorders, Selfless Maker partners with eating disorders clinics and cosmetic companies to host events where makeup professionals work directly with patients. Selfless Makeup is now working with 3 clinics in Hawaii and 2 in Arizona. We have partnered with Sephora and Ulta Beauty, 2 leading beauty retailers in the United States. This February, we hosted our first event working with 13 individuals as they make their transition back to healthy lives. From the sands of Hawaii, we sail to the secluded atolls of Tuvalu.
Tuvalu is the 4th smallest country in the world with nearly 10,000 inhabitants. Agriculture is nearly impossible with its coral land and brackish water. Sea levels are on the rise, threatening to completely cover these islands in less than 100 years. Since 2011, Tuvalu and Enactus students have worked tirelessly to create sustainable projects in their home country, all founded upon one belief: Tuvaluans will be the ones to save Tuvalu. We built the Olav Oki preschool in 2012. This preschool has provided quality education to over 250 children and employs 6 teachers.
Sele, a mother of 6 and hotel manager, explained to us how she relies on overseas shipments for fresh vegetation. Sele doesn't stand alone in this difficulty. During our last visit, these essential shipments hadn't come in over 3 weeks. The entire island was stuck in waiting. Without the means to grow their own produce, they rely on processed canned foods and starches. Consequently, there is a high rate of diabetes and obesity. The local teachers started their own initiative to promote better health for the children by having the parents send fresh fruit and water with the children to school each week.
Back on our campus at BYU Hawaii, our school cafeteria is self-sustaining through techniques such as aquaponics to make our food. Elementary schools from all over the island come on field trips to learn about it. Alex Trillo, Enactus member and gardener for the cafeteria, and our Enactus team developed a hydroponics garden system suitable for Tuvalu.
We first sent out a survey to find the most common vegetables they want to grow. We then taught them how to plant and care for tomatoes, lettuce, and green onions. In Tuvalu, we worked hand in hand with the PTA president of the preschool, teachers, and local young entrepreneurs. With the hydroponic system in place, the garden is now providing fresh food to all 70 students and will continue to be taught in the country's 2 high schools, impacting at least 1,070 students. Through their own entrepreneurial mindset, Tuvaluans will bring this technology into local homes.
From the humble atolls of Tuvalu, we set our sight to the promising youth of the Kingdom of Tonga.
With its pristine ocean conditions, the turquoise waters of the Kingdom of Tonga makes her one of the most important well-breeding grounds in the world and a desired tourist location. But behind the scenes of natural beauty lies the ugly reality of alcohol-induced violence. About 47% of men drink before the age of 15. Without productive use of their time, Tongan youth will get involved with drugs and alcohol, which leads to other forms of violence. Project manager Cameron Van Wagner returned to Tonga and is now reversing these social trends among young Tongan men.
Through a rigorous curriculum of weightlifting, horsemanship, scuba diving, wood carving, and boxing, Cameron has given the youth in Tonga a place of refuge, building the kind of men the king himself can count on, Kingsmen. To keep Kingsmen sustainable and increase these boys and others' employment opportunities, we've set up an eco-tourist adventure company called Whitehorse.
Whitehorse provides outdoor adventures to tourists and contributes 20% of its profit to fund the Kingsmen Youth Program. The skills taught tool in the youth program qualify the youth for employment in Whitehorse with a total of 25 job opportunities.
All of our efforts are supported by the local government officials. Governor Fulivai hand-selected a group of 11 boys he felt suitable for our program. These boys are incredible, and we've seen big changes as with our friend Havea.
One evening, Cameron came across 17-year-old Havea sitting on the side of the road. Havea had just been kicked out of school. The social norms of drinking, smoking, crime, and fighting were all Havea could see in his future, but Cameron saw his potential. In just 2 months, Havea has flourished, becoming one of the program's most dedicated members, and is now going back to school. Thanks to Kingsmen and Whitehorse, 11 youth have better financial, entrepreneurial, and employment opportunities while learning valuable life skills to improve the world around them.
If the King of Tonga wants anything to be done, the Kingsmen are ready and able to do it. From the islands of the Pacific, we see the impact our Filipino students are making in their own home country. The Philippines is the world's 8th leading producer of rice. Just 2 semesters ago, Elvin Laceda came to BYU Hawaii with a clear vision of how to rise up and help his fellow farmers.
Growing up in Pampanga, I observed how hard my grandfather Arturo would work to provide for his 9 children and 15 grandchildren. My grandfather walked every day at 4 a.m. to start working in the fields. My grandma was a vendor in a local market selling our produce. Grandfather's income was disproportionate from the amount of labor he performed. 1 week's worth of hard manual labor resulted in only $14. In the Philippines, nearly 25% of people live in this kind of poverty.
The country relies heavily on the agricultural industry, yet the very people who produce the food needed to sustain life are often the poorest. Elvin and his team have sought a way to empower those who feed us. Thus, Rise Up for Filipino Farmers was created.
By leveraging the power of technology, Rise Up is changing the economic landscape for farmers in the Philippines. Through the development of a mobile app, Rise Up is bridging the economic gap between farmers and the agricultural market. This app we are in the process of designing allows farmers to keep track of their production rates and finances. It also allows farmers to connect directly with customers, providing them with more fresh and affordable produce. To date, 50 farmers in 2 towns are now able to provide more affordable produce through our beta program.
We recently met with the former President of the Philippines and current Pampanga Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. We also met with Senator Cynthia Villar Sipag Village and the Department of Agriculture. We are all working together in the organization and execution of 3 key programs: the Financial Management and Self-Reliance Workshops, Digital Literacy Training, and the Integrated Family Farming. This joint effort and success has been covered in 2 major national newspapers, the Manila Bulletin and the Philippine Daily Inquirer, and in the Central Luzon television news program.
In visiting with the Department of Agriculture, they decided to create a grant program with Rise Up. DA ASIF Rise Up Grants has now created 10 scholarship grants to 10 students who wish to study agriculture. This is equivalent to $40,000 worth of education annually.
This project is providing an abundance of hope for our dear farmers. We are working tirelessly to encourage and inspire future generations of farmers. We have also discovered the need to show the young generation how cool agriculture can be. We visited schools with a campaign encouraging children to join the 4-H Club, a youth-led program under the supervision of the government that aims to empower young people with valuable life skills and agricultural opportunities.
One of the most successful Filipino entrepreneurs, Senator Cynthia Villar, current chairman of the Committee of Food and Agriculture, is working closely with us to develop a training curriculum and action plan for agricultural entrepreneurs.
We've spearheaded an initiative to enable small farmers to increase their farming. During a 3-month rice harvest, they can earn an additional income by harvesting high-value crops that have a monthly harvest rate. This system has increased their average income from $71 a month to as much as $250 a month. To ensure this initiative's sustainability, we are in the process of getting accreditation to become the first rural farming school in Pampanga.
Mangere, one of our 50 farmers, faces a common struggle in farming: lack of financial capital. To support their livelihood, farmers used to have to take out loans with loan sharks charging a 15 to 20% monthly interest rate. In response, Rise Up partnered with Kasama Grameen, a Philippine-based microfinance institution, an arm of Nobel Peace Prize winner Mohamed Yunus Grameen Bank. We're training our farmers in financial management and self-reliance workshops, qualifying them for the loan. Kasama Grameen have reviewed our modules and has agreed to loan capital for their crops with a 3% monthly interest rate. This has changed Manre's life.
In summary, we created self-sustaining, life-changing, and legacy-lasting projects across 6 countries, directly impacting over 15,000 people and indirectly impacting over 478,000 people. As Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has."
In Africa, by collaborating with Well Africa and Akin Clothing, 250 children can now attend school because they are equipped with the required school uniforms. The two health centers established in the Ivory Coast provide access to 3,200 individuals in need. Further, the new medical tracking software implemented in these centers are tracking 65 mothers and their babies to provide safe labor and delivery conditions.
From Hawaii, we teamed up with Sephora, one of the largest makeup companies. We established 5 locations in Hawaii and Arizona with eating disorder clinics to facilitate the program. These partnerships are empowering 13 individuals to overcome anorexia through the self-esteem practicums and will continue to impact many more.
In Tuvalu, through the hydroponic farming system, education, and training, 1,070 Tuvaluan students have access to a healthier, more sustainable food source for them and their families, allowing young entrepreneurs to make the world around them flourish.
In the Kingdom of Tonga, 25 new jobs are now in place to provide a source of livelihood for those individuals' families, as well as impact 35,000 annual tourists. Importantly, this business is currently impacting the lives of 11 at-risk Tongan young youth who are learning and becoming the kingsmen their world needs.
In the Philippines, 50 farming families now add value to their rice farms through improved techniques and have access to microloans through our partnership with Grameen Bank. Many are now capable of tripling their income. Further, $40,000 worth of scholarships are available to 10 young agricultural students.
In a world that is filled with opportunity, the leaders of today are building a stronger tomorrow, making a better world for us all.
We are Enactus, BYU Hawaii. Aloha!